This is the Hiking Through Life podcast. We've all been gifted a journey called life. Let's see where the journey leads us today. Welcome to the Hiking Through Life podcast, where we talk with people who in some way, shape, or form have been influenced by the outdoors. I'm Andy, the producer of this podcast, and my lovely wife Sarah will be your host. Together, we make up Hiking Through Life.
This podcast is all about bringing all kinds of people who are inspired by the outdoors and sharing their stories.
We hope that by sharing people's stories, it inspires others to get out and live a more meaningful life. Tune in every week for new episodes, or better yet, subscribe to the Hiking Through Life podcast on your favorite podcast provider. If you enjoy this podcast, please share it with others. Also, if you have a story to share or know of anyone who might be interested in being a guest on this podcast, head on over to hikingthroughlife.net/podcast and get in touch with us. Now sit back and enjoy this week's episode.
Welcome to the Hiking Through Life podcast. When you enter the world of parenting, hiking, or any hobby for that matter, will look a little bit different. It's key during the early childhood stages that you introduce your children to your passions and your world, and adapt the passions to be fit for you and your little ones. This is exactly what Stephanie and Barbara of Backpacking Moms are doing. Barbara is from Italy and Stephanie is from Switzerland, and together they have three things in common: the mountains, a child, and a partner who prefer to do something else besides hiking. We're really excited to be joined by Stephanie and Barbara today on the podcast. Thanks for joining us today, you guys.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
I love so much how your website says that when you do have children, it's not a sacrifice in your world, but rather adapting them to your world. I just that stood out to me so much. And it's clear that that's such a passion for both of you and what you're doing. But before we dive into any of that, let's talk about your backgrounds. So, Stephanie, where did you grow up, and what are some of your earliest memories of being outdoors?
So as you said, I'm from Switzerland. I grew up in, I would say, a small city, Lausanne, on the Geneva Lake. It's about 140,000 inhabitants. So yes, I will say I'm a city girl, definitely. But I have the perfect view to the French Alps and partly on the Mont Blanc. I think I fell in love to the mountains because of my grandparents. My grandparents live in Austria, next to the Dolomites. And so I was hiking in the mountains during my holidays, actually. So in the normal life, I was in the city, I went to school and so on. But we were not used to go to the mountain each weekend, for example. And so I would say, yes, my activities in the mountains, hiking, going outdoor, was concentrated during my holidays. And I asked my mother today when I wanted to know when when they started to hike with me as child, and she said, "Yeah, you make your first summit with 5 years." So I was 5 years old, and I was saying, "Hey, impossible! I can't imagine to go on the top of a mountain with 5 years old." But she said, "Yeah, no, you did it because you was too heavy to carry." So she reminded, because she was actually pregnant. But I get this information only today. So it was really, really funny.
So she was pregnant and hiking up a mountain with a 5-year-old.
Yeah, but not alone. So my grandparents were with her, but I didn't know it. So I was thinking, oh, I'm the first girl hiking with my baby. No. In fact, and yeah, it was funny because I was before I became my first boy, I went for a hike for 5 days alone, because when I get the information I'm pregnant, I was like a kind of bit afraid, just to have to give up so much and concentrate just on motherhood. And so I told to my friend, I have to go in the mountains now. It's the right time. So I went 5 days pregnant in the mountains. This was like, I don't know how to say, pilgrim. So it was just
pilgrimage.
Yeah. And so, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it sounds like it's been a part of your life since a really young age. And I always love hearing that for people, because I just think when those experiences are introduced at an early age, it impacts you for the rest of your life.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And how about for you, Barbara?
A bit same as Stephanie. So I was born and raised in Rome, in Italy. So you can imagine it's a big city and there is not much outdoor out there. But my mother was from Trentino. This is a region in the Alps in North Italy. And my grandma still lived there. So every summer we went up there to visit her, and we always went hiking. My dad served in the military in the Alpine group, which is a group specialized to be in the mountains. So I guess he felt very comfortable to go with me and my brother, even though we were very young. I don't remember like the first hikes. I just remember having this little traditional cooked wool hat. And every time we went to a rifugio, which is the mountain hut that we have in the mountains, my parents would buy me a pin, and I could put this pin in this hat that I was wearing. I was definitely before school time, so before 6 years old. And I have this strong memory of having this hat with my pin that I gained by hiking to the rifugio. So I guess that's how it started for me.
So both of you were so young. And I mean, from hearing that Stephanie just learned today that her mom was doing this too is so cool too, that it's just like part of your family's history in a way. That's really, really cool. And really neat to hear that your dad, Barbara, was just taking you guys out in the mountains at such a young age too. And collecting pins. We do that too. We collect pins and patches here in Minnesota for hiking.
Yeah. It's a big motivation, especially if you're a little kid. That's
Even
all it matters.
When you're an adult, it's a motivation too.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. I can't remember either when on my first hikes, but I was thinking about collecting, and my memories are not collecting pins, but collecting raspberry or something like that.
Yes, foraging for wild fruits and plants.
Yeah. So I think we remember all these hikes when they are linked with something special, special emotion, or something you see the first time. It's funny. I was thinking about a story when I went once with my grandpa to a summit, and when we arrived on the top of the mountain, there was very bad weather and very windy. And I can remember my grandpa tied me up to the cross on the summit with a rope, so I to keep me safe. And these are so little things that I can remember. But the hike itself, no, I can't tell you which hike it was, but this special moment.
Yeah, those stick out to you very much so. And yeah, my grandparents were a big part of my outdoor life too. It's really neat how it passes from generation to generation. So each of you has a partner who doesn't like hiking. Is this correct?
So yes, my boyfriend, He really loves climbing. He's a big climber. But this is something interesting I really should mention. Before having the baby, I will go hiking by myself, and my partner will just go climbing. And then while I was pregnant, that's when we started with the backpacking moms. Stephanie already had her first child. And I think my partner saw how important hiking was for me, that incredibly he started hiking with me now. So it's very nice. Since I had the baby and since I started backpacking moms, my partner actually start following me, following the baby.
That's really cool though, that before you had the baby, each of you had your own passion that you allowed each other to just do. And that was probably really what made you guys feel like coming alive. It's so cool that you just went with your own passions and didn't necessarily stop them because of each other. How about you, Stephanie? Your partner's not into it either?
No, I would say he comes with me sometimes, but I would say he won't go to hike each weekend. So maybe I have to put a little bit more energy to convince him to come with me. But once we are on the way, in the mountain and so on, he's very happy. So I can't say he doesn't like, but he needs a little bit more a push. I have to push him a little bit.
Yes. You guys are
And
the leaders in the backpacking for your partners.
yes, but that's okay. I think each human has his passion, and it's interesting to share it sometimes, and sometimes not. Sometimes I need to be also alone on my own, and to be in another spirit.
I think this is a bit also the idea of backpacking moms. We wanted to find a way to hike without our partners, even though we had the extra weight, because I didn't want my partner to have to sacrifice, because, okay, now he needs to come with me, otherwise I cannot go. I didn't want to put him, with the shoulder against the wall. It's like, I'm not going to be happy because I can't go hiking anymore. So I wanted to find a way that I will still give him his space, his weekends to go rock climbing and so forth. And we found a very nice equilibrium now. So sometimes we go hiking and sometimes we just go climbing. And it's actually great.
Yeah, I think this is an important point, yes, that we don't want to say, okay, only moms should go hiking. Huh? It's not the aim of backpacking mom. We want to share something and to show it's possible to do it also on your own, but it doesn't mean you don't have to go hiking with your partner. So it's just to give the possibility, yeah.
Yeah, giving that opening up your eyes, and you guys are really empowering parents to get out there and do this on their own, is what it seems like.
Yeah, exactly.
It was an empowering situation for us, for me to go hiking with my baby. And I want to share it because, as I said before, I was a city girl. I grew up in a mentality, everybody was telling me, when you have a baby, you need to stay home. Forget about the mountains. And for me, that was an identity crisis. It's like, oh my God, I'm becoming a mom. Now I have to give up all of this. And I realized it doesn't have to be that way. You are still able to go out and enjoy yourself. You just have to adapt to the new situation and find a way in which you can do it safely, first of all, because you have a baby, and to do it in a way in which the baby also enjoys it. If the baby enjoys it, then he will come again and it's just going to be great.
Yeah, it does seem like there's this stigma and there's a judgment around people who bring their young children outdoors. And when you guys are outdoors, do you ever have people looking at you and kind of wondering, what are you doing with your children out here? Do you ever get reactions like that?
Yeah, so I can say for my part, so you have really positive reaction because you are you are with kids, so kids are always have a positive, I don't know how to say, but the people are reacting positively. I say in the mountain because when you are hiking person, you have a kind of special spirit, and you usually open for this, I think. But anyway, what the funniest is when you meet someone with another baby or another kid, you have this look, so wow, you're doing the same. Yeah, just yes, it's giving me each time much more power to see other people, and it's like a special connection.
And Barbara, how about you?
I also had a lot of incredibly positive experience. Of course, people look at you, they don't say anything. But you can see they're puzzled, but then they see the babies relax, you're relaxed, and they're like, yeah, this is great. So we just came back actually from a month. We were down in New Zealand backpacking there. And I really like spending the nights out in huts. And in New Zealand, tramping, it's very common. I was amazed how everybody was welcoming in the huts. And they start telling us the stories of the first time when they went out hiking with their kids. So it was a very nice moment to get all together.
And when you were in New Zealand, was this with your partner and your child?
Yes, of course. We should probably specify. So my baby is 21 months old now, just to give an idea. So it's a toddler. For example, we went to New Zealand when he was 8 months old the first time. So still an infant that I had to carry all the time. And at this time he was just walking around and it was fun.
Oh yeah, that's a really fun age. And Stephanie, you have 2 children, right?
Yeah, I have 2 little boys. So the first one is 3.5 years old now, and the second one is now 10 months old. So it's a new challenge, of course, for me, because now it's going to be the first season I'm going to hike for real with 2 kids. But no, sorry, I'm wrong. Last year we did a hike with Barbara. And I think my youngest one was 2 or 3 months old. Yeah. So we went already once hiking together with both children. Yeah, it's. But I have to say it's a new challenge. So I'm very curious to see how it's going to work now when we start hiking again now with the good weather.
Yeah. Well, and a 3.5-year-old definitely is at that stage where they want to do everything on their own.
Yeah, I'm very curious because yes, they want to do everything on their own, but they want to have the same things that as the brothers. So maybe it's going to be yes, it's going to be a new challenge, I think. But I think these are challenge we are already having at home. And as I told to Barbara, it's I felt more difficult to stay in the flats at home with both kids than outside. And Barbara told me the same. You shouldn't be afraid to go out because it's already challenging at home. I think it's a bit easier outside. I don't know, because maybe the kids feel, okay, this is real life. There are real problems, and not only, oh, my toy is broken or something like that. So I think they are participating much more, even if they are small kids.
Absolutely. They have a huge open space to explore and no distractions of being indoors. I'm reading a really great book right now about a mom who raised she's from Scandinavian countries, and she wrote a book about how kids just need to be outdoors, and she was trying to raise her children in the USA, but was really struggling with the fact that here in the USA, there's not a huge emphasis on outdoor play in a lot of schools. And it's you sit down and you learn and you sit at your desk. And this book just has a lot of research and great knowledge that she shares. And now she moved back to her home country to raise her children. But
I read that book last month.
Did
It's
you?
great. Yeah, it's amazing. I love it.
There's no
It's
such
very
thing
good.
as bad weather.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Yes.
Oh,
It's
funny.
great.
Yes, I love it. I'm in the middle of it right now. And I'm going to talk to her on this podcast as well.
Oh, that's amazing.
Wow.
Oh my God. You should say hi from Backpacking Months. I'm a fan.
Yeah,
I'm a
I
fan.
will.
She
Yeah.
inspired me a lot too.
Yeah. I
Good.
love
Yeah.
reading her stuff. And yeah, I'm not a mom yet, but I am pregnant. So
Oh, congratulations.
Congratulations.
yes, thank you. So I'm trying to work through all of this in my mind and listening to you guys. Yeah, like just like learning about how when you find out you're pregnant, you just like your whole life is changing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like in the film you're seeing in the television, huh? It's like you're okay, now something's going to change, and it's not wow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I that's me. I'm telling the truth. I was not running in the at home and say, yeah, I'm pregnant, I'm going to have a kid. It was like a surprise for me. So it was a different, yeah. And so you have to grow up in this new role.
Yeah, a total new role. Yeah, I absolutely was like going through for the first month that I found out, I was just going through this crisis of, oh my gosh, my life is going to change.
It's gonna be great. No, it's gonna be great.
It's going to be great.
It will. It is. It can be.
Enjoy each time,
Yeah.
each day.
It's
Yes.
wonderful.
Yeah. It's hard but wonderful.
Yes,
I'm
but
so
yeah,
happy. It's
yeah,
a
I
good
was
news.
so excited when I came across your guys' site. I was like, you guys are going to be a wonderful connection. I can be your connection in the USA.
Yay! Yeah, well, let's plan hikes together.
Yes.
But I was surprised when you told me now about the outdoor situation in the US, because in our country, so I can speak about now Austria because I'm living in Austria now. We have a lot of possibilities to have a outdoor life, I think. We have like Alpine Club, they are doing a lot for kids. And now I register my biggest son in the kindergarten for next year. It's the Waldkindergarten. This means the forest kindergarten. But the point is that the kids are all the day outside. So when the weather is not too bad, they even eating outside. So they are all the time outside and playing to the river or looking for animals. I don't know, everything. So I think we have here great opportunities to bring the kids, even if they are not staying with us, with the parents. Yes, to bring them in the nature.
Yes, and there are outdoor schools here in the USA. They're becoming more popular year by year, but they're still not the normal.
The norm. Yeah.
Yeah. And how about in Italy, Barbara, for preschool?
They started the forest kindergarten as well. But then, of course, it depends a lot from the region. Like in Rome, it's a bit harder to find, outdoor school, of course. In the Alps, is very common. I know a few people that are attending to the forest kindergarten. And I think it also depends a lot from the parents. If the parents are motivated to keep their kids out, they're gonna find a way. Boy Scouts or forest kindergarten.
Yes. When I was in Italy, I went there and I taught English in a middle school. So I never worked in a preschool, but we did have the opportunity to go with the middle schoolers and go hiking somewhere. I don't remember the name of it, but it was just a wonderful opportunity to be outside and teaching them and just be immersed in the mountains with them. So, how did you two meet? Have you been friends for a long time, or what's your connection?
Yeah, we met the first time at work. So we were both working for a European project. This was called Silmas project. It was a project looking for lakes, sustainability for lakes in the Alp region. And so, yeah, Barbara was a leader at the scientific level. And I was working in the communication, so I mean the project management. And so we met a few times in the year during meetings. So we traveled a little bit together. This was the first time we met.
And was this before either of you had any children?
Oh yes, much before. This was maybe 10 now,
Well, we were young.
2010. Yeah, 10 years ago. Yeah, so 10 years ago, I moved back to Italy, and yeah, I started working on this European project, and it was easy to meet with Stephanie during the working package meetings. So this was a long time before we were married, or yeah, we even have the thought about kids. We had dogs already at the time.
Yeah, this
It was
this
about
is
hiking with dogs at that time. How do we do
Yeah.
that?
So, did you two go out and hike with your dogs during that time? And is that where your friendship really formed?
So the difficult things between me and Stefan is that, well, at the time I lived in Italy and Stephanie lived in Austria. Now I'm living in Germany and she lives in Austria. So we are far apart. So when we could meet for the working package meetings, then yes, we always spend some extra day here or there to go for a hike. But even now, when we want to meet to go hiking, we have to make a plan ahead. It can just be spontaneous, you know. So it must be, okay, what about we take holiday this week in August and we go. We were planning to go in Norway this summer, but maybe we're just going to stay around the Austrian, Italian region with the coronavirus outbreak. So
Yeah, I think.
let's hope we could do something. But yeah, we all have to wait to make further plans.
Yeah, everyone's plans changed with the
Yeah.
virus outbreak.
Yeah.
So, how often do you two meet up with your children and hike then, would you say?
We try to make it once a year. Well, definitely once a year. The reality is that, as I told you, my baby is 21 months old. So as soon as I had a baby, my baby was 3 months old, we went to Sardinia for a week. We had our first expedition there. Then Stephanie was pregnant again. So we had to wait until she had the second baby. And then we went for another little expedition in Austria. And now we wanted to go for our third expedition, and hopefully border will be open, because we also have this problem that borders are closed, so we cannot even meet. We'll see. But yeah, the idea is to go as much as we can. But also we were both working full time. So yeah, it's a matter of holidays.
But I think we are even if we are not together hiking each time one is going to hike, we just have a share, we share like now video call or something like that, just to speak about the hikes, and yes, if there's something special. So we are Barbara said we are still emotionally connected, I think, and sharing our experience. And I think this is the aim of Backpacking Mom, this emotional connection.
And sustain each other.
Yeah, staying connected and empowering one another and showing each other your experiences and your pictures. That's a really neat connection that you share. And do you guys have plans for Backpacking Moms to have other people joined in Backpacking Moms yet? Or at this point, is it still just you two?
No, definitely. We would love people to join us. So we just started a Facebook group. It's a closed Facebook group that you can ask to join. And that will be a meeting point for moms. So if you have questions, if you need inspiration, or if you have a success story that you want to share, that will be the place to go. So this is the first thing that is very important to keep us all together. Also, we have an account on Instagram where we just update our thoughts. We want to be a little bit of inspiration. And then, of course, there is the website. The website summarize what we find, because when I was pregnant and I thought, okay, I want to go out with my baby, what do I have to do? I couldn't really find a website that explains all at once. I had to Google everything separately. Like on my first hike with my baby, we were 2,200 meters above sea level. And I was wondering, okay, is this too much for his lungs? Because, it's just a newborn. And all the questions that I had about going out with the baby, I had to find in different websites. But I would have loved to find a place where I could just have written and get feedback. Yeah, so with the website, we just put a concisely we write down everything we find out, what other mothers suggest, and so forth.
I think it's a different situation in the US. When I look at the pictures on Instagram and the groups, I think in the USA you have a lot of groups, moms that are sharing hiking stories. And I was wondering, because I couldn't find in Europe so many connections, so many, a platform where we can get all the information. Yeah, that's why we wanted we wanted to start with Backpacking Mom and share this with other people. We wanted, yes, to create a platform where the mother can meet and, yes, have like a guide,
Well, the message is, I think all mothers are heroes, really. And they do meet challenges when this newborn comes. And but there are tools to go over these challenges. And there are mothers that already went through the same problem. There are a lot of mothers out there that have found a way to go hiking. So we want to hear from them, and we want to learn and see, okay, this was a success story for this woman. She found a way to go hiking with her infant. Would it work for me too?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you hear those stories of other people doing what you are doing, that's when you get motivation to keep going for it. But yeah, and going back to what Stephanie said, that's very true that here in the USA, there are a handful of groups of moms that go out and hike with their children. There's this group called Hike It Baby that's really huge in the US. Is that started at all over in Europe yet?
Yes. I saw actually there are different brands. There is a group not too far from here. It hasn't been active, and but mainly I notice it's a lot of English speaking people, of course, joining in. Yeah, but it's taking slowly, but I think it starts working here too. And I think Hike It Baby, they have all my admiration. They're doing great things.
Yeah, they're doing great.
You should join.
Yeah, I follow all of their stuff online. I will join when the time comes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, how about backpacking with children? What are some of the biggest challenges that you've come across hiking with young children?
So the biggest challenge, I think, was self-confidence. So I was very scared. It's like you have this little, especially as a first-time mom, you don't really know how to interact with your baby. Is it too cold? Is it too hot? So it's to gain the confidence to go in the outdoors. Um, Also, you have to understand the baby's needs. Um, is he crying because he's hungry? He's tired, or I don't know, it needs to be changed. This is a challenge that we have as well, being at home. But of course, being
Mhm.
outside makes it a little bit trickier, because if it's winter, for example, if you have to change his diapers, then you're very concerned. It's like, oh, I don't want him to get cold. And which goes back into confidence. You want to go out and be confident that everything is going to be okay, and that you're both coming back happy and healthy. Also, not to be disappointed. So maybe you plan a hike and you don't finish it because something happens. But this is part of adaptation. I learned pretty fast that the goal of me hiking with my baby is not going to a place. It's just enjoying being together outside. And once you realize
Mm.
that, every hike becomes the best hike ever.
Yeah, I think this is an important point because, as you maybe understood already, backpacking mom is not about the performance stuff. The most important is to be able to establish an intensive bond with your children. Huh? As I told you before, it's real situation outside, and so you are sharing very, very strong emotions, and this is really this is what makes life. That's what your children are going to remember, I think. And I was laughing because Barbara said a big challenge is also not to be disappointed. I was just looking to a video we made when we went to Sardinia. We wanted to, we planned a hike, yeah. Uh, so as usual, when we went out of the car, it started to rain. And so we started the hike, yeah, cool, full of motivation, and always checking the time, and at a moment we said, okay, now we have to take a decision. We just realized that we are not going to be able to reach the point we want to reach, and we had to stop the hike in the middle, I think. And yes, and then we made a little video, and I saw my video and I was thinking, oh my god, she looks so disappointed. And I was just speaking about, yeah, we didn't make it. And so I realized myself I was just in this pattern, this pattern. Human being just always want to reach a goal, and so it's really a work. Backpacking is a work on ourselves to think about what is really important. Yes. So yeah, I was just laughing because it was my video.
Yeah, and you guys said that going to Sardinia was a trip that you went on shortly when your children were still very young, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, mine was 3 months old.
And in Europe, we had already snow on the top of the mountains. So we said, okay, we want to do something, but it was too difficult to stay in the Alps. So we said, okay, let's do something in Sardinia, in the south part. So we have a quite good weather. Actually, it rained all the day. We stayed there, but anyway, we had a great time.
Yeah.
um,
We also tried hiking with donkeys for a day in the south. We were invited by a company called the Donkey, and they just took us out for half a day, and that was also an amazing experience. We wanted to see if hiking with donkeys would be easier, because they can carry the weight. It was fun. It was easier, definitely. And I have to say, my son that now start talking, he's crazy for donkeys, and I always wonder, was that because of that experience?
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
it could have made a big impact on him.
Yeah, I wonder.
Oh, how cool. So the donkeys carried all of your backpacking gear.
These are a very small breed, local Sardinian donkeys. So they carried mainly the water and a little snack. But we went for, so when we talk about hiking, we often go for 2 days or maybe 3. And so we have to take all the sleeping gear and the food, and that's a lot of weight. When you go for 1 day hike, it's much easier, of course. And in this case, with the donkey, it was extremely easy because then they will take our food.
Yeah, food weight's a lot.
It can be.
Well, and on top of carrying a baby, I mean, that's so much more weight. Did you guys find that when you started hiking with your children, were you hiking at a much slower pace?
Yes, definitely. So I like going for long hikes, like 2 or 3 days with a baby. First of all, you have to move the babies. He cannot be sitting in the backpack the whole time. I guess he just gets very sore. It must be so uncomfortable. And so a way that I found was I carry the baby in the backpack for a bit, and then I carry him in the kangaroo pouch in the front, or in the sling. And then we also have a hip carrier in which he just sits on the hip mainly and is totally free to move.
Yeah, I was reading everything on your website about that, and I'm like, holy cow, there's so many different ways to carry a child on a trail.
I know. Well, this is something that I learned, and I'm grateful to backpacking moms for this, because I really thought it was only the backpack. And then the hip carrier, for example, I never saw anybody with a hip carrier in the forest, because you think first of all, it's not really common. I think it's very common in Asia, but not in Europe or not even in the US. I never saw it.
Oh, I've never
Um,
seen that here.
and yeah, my husband actually bought it for him because he doesn't have hips, of course. And it turns out the baby just loves it. It's very lightweight, and you can strap on the back of the backpack very easily. And so both my husband can carry him, I can carry him. He can stand on it. As an infant, he will kind of, the first time in which he's trying to stand up. Yeah, we just don't go anywhere without it. It's the best piece of equipment ever.
So if the child's on the hip though, do you find yourself switching the side a lot? Because if it's just on one hip, all the weight is on one side.
So, okay, the name is the hip carrier, I think. We actually could, but my husband puts it in the front, so just in front of his belly. This is, and the baby sits on it. Yeah, so you don't actually have it on the hip. You can still have the strap of the backpack around your hips, and then you just kind of put this hip carrier in the front through the straps of the backpack. Yeah, I should probably put a picture so you can imagine.
Trying to imagine.
It looks very funny. It looks extremely funny, but it works.
So the hip carrier, so that's like one item that you always bring on your hikes with your kids?
Definitely. That one. And then I have a second favorite, which is a push forward dragon. So this is a little wooden dragon attached to the end of a stick. The baby holds the other hand and just push the dragon in front of him. So it's just a little toy. It's like a pull along toy. Just that this one is forward. And also my baby loves it. And he just holds it and walks around with this dragon in front of him, and he just goes 4 kilometers. Seriously, it can walk up a mountain without even noticing, which is great for 2 reasons. One, you don't have to carry him, and second, it really has I think my son has this feeling of achievement that he hasn't been carried the whole way, but he also did his own way. So also his extra weight is something you wouldn't think when you are packing, a backpack. You want to be as light as possible, especially with a child. But that push along, totally worth the wait. Totally.
I love that. Just a little, yeah, it's little motivation. Kids
Yeah.
totally need that. Push the dragon up the mountain. Oh, that's great. That's
Yes,
great.
it is great. That's my tip.
How about you, Stephanie?
You were talking about carrying, and I was just thinking, I am very happy when I don't have to carry anymore. So my favorite thing, what I always have with me is the lambskin. Actually, I think Barbara inspired me in Sardinia, and I had one at home. So I was thinking, okay, just take it with me, and I just experience. It's the most usual important thing for me, because when we make breaks, you have to use this time to just put all the weight off. And so where do you put the baby? The ground could be wet, there are stones, it's not comfortable, it's cold. So lambskin is perfect. You put it on the ground, and you can put the baby on it, and the baby is very happy, because it's not you change the position of the baby, because this is also something very important. Barbara told you about all these different kind of possibilities to carry baby, and so the position, to change the position is very important. And this is why we also put the baby on the ground, to have a break for you and for the baby. And of course, to change the nappy is very important, and it's very useful. They also can move on it, and it's always a good temperature, and yes, this is really easy. So I would say always take it with you.
Yeah, that sounds like something that would be extremely helpful.
Yeah.
And it's probably very lightweight too, just a simple little, it's like a changing pad essentially.
Yeah, you can roll. I don't know how to say.
Roll it?
Yeah, roll it and put it, attach it on the behind on the backpack. So you don't have to put it inside on the in the backpack, but you can put it, attach it separately outside, so you don't lose space in your backpack.
Yeah, it's easy and convenient.
And you were also talking about this dragon. So take toys with you, or maybe a book, or something with the babies. And also my biggest one, when he was about 2 years old, it was useful to have something they can look for, or play with when they are carried. And I always took something like not a rope, something more little to attach the toys. Very important, because they lose all the time the things, and when they lose it, you can imagine to have the backpack, the kid on it, and just to catch the things on the ground. With Barbara, we call this the how do you say giraffe?
The giraffe movement.
Because you have to put your feet on the side,
Can you imagine a giraffe drinking water? How she has to open the legs and move slowly to reach the ground.
Oh sure, with a kid on you.
So you're holding a baby and you have to pick up something on the floor, and you're like, oh. So you start opening your legs and trying on one knee and the other, and it just takes a while. And you don't want to put the backpack down because the baby's happy right now.
Yeah, no.
So if you change something, the baby may also change his decision, right?
Yeah. You got to keep going when the baby's happy. Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. the baby decides always when you take your breaks.
Yeah.
As long as the baby sleeps, as long as it's happy, you go.
Yes.
And did you find that to be a really challenging adaptation at first when you both became moms, like having to hike on a baby's schedule?
Yeah.
Well, this is something funny. The most challenging thing you can imagine, I'm thinking about my first hike. And we start hiking, and I'm holding the baby in the front carrier. And you imagine you just gave birth. It's very hard to hold the pee, and the baby just falls asleep. And you're like, oh God, I have to pee. And, and that's like the worst moment in the world. You're like, what do I do? Do I wake up the baby? It's like, that's panic. And I actually found a friend of mine gave it to me as a joke, but it's a good idea. It's kind of it's called urination device, and it's something that a woman can use to pee as a man. It's on the website. You
Oh
can
yeah,
have
it's
a
like a
look.
pee cup, right?
It's like a pickup. Yeah, yeah. As soon as you give birth, if you want to go hiking, you should carry that, because yeah, it's it's necessary.
Yeah, I've heard of these. I've heard of a brand called the Go Girl.
They go, yeah, yeah, yeah. There are different brands out there. There is just use once and recyclable. But these are the little things in which we are happy to talk in backpacking months, because these are not the things that you usually think when you go backpacking. But man, they make a difference. They really make a difference.
Yeah, I wouldn't think of that because
Yeah.
I've heard about those, but right now I'm like, I don't need that. I can squat.
Yeah, exactly. Not with a baby, not while holding a baby, and not after giving birth. I guess this is why it's called backpacking moms. We talk about a lot about things related to women issues too.
Yeah, well, I just think that's so helpful, the things that you guys are sharing with women and with the world that a lot of people don't think of when they first go out to hike with their little ones.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And really we are not experts, like we are learning on the way, and we are so happy to hear from other women, and they may have found these amazing ideas that we didn't think about, and it's like, please share with us. Let's build a community in which we are going to become so strong because we are learning from each other.
Yeah, that's one thing I loved about your website too, that you said, like, please reach out to us. We're not experts. We're learning every single day. And the best way to learn is from one another.
Exactly.
So it's very open-ended, and I loved that about the website too.
Thank you.
So let's talk about a favorite place to hike in your country. So Barbara, you're currently in Italy, but you live in Germany. Is that correct?
No, I'm currently in Germany, but I try to go to Italy every time I can.
So your home base is Italy.
My home is in Germany, but my heart is in Italy. Let's say.
Okay.
So my husband works in Germany. I was working in Germany until not long ago. But every time we have an opportunity, it's a 6 hours drive. Then I used to live in Italy before I got married. So I go back to my house in the Italian Alps. It's where my heart is. I just love it.
So where's a favorite place that you've hiked in the Italian Alps?
The Dolomites, definitely. So the region where I live is called Trentino. In Trentino, Alto Adige, there are these groups of mountains. They are called Dolomites. They were formed during the Jurassic periods, and they are ancient coral reef. And they're very spectacular because they look kind of yellowish. Imagine just rocks, just peaks, cathedrals that go up in the sky. And they have this mineral inside, and they change color during the day. So at sunrise and sunset, they're just bright orange and red. At night, they're very pale and gray. And yeah, every time I can, I just go and hike there, and then I spend the night in the mountains. So in Italy, the local alpine club is called SAT. They manage huts, served, hut, which means that they give you dinner, you can drink, you can spend the night there. Usually it's in big dormitories, but sometimes you also have private rooms, which is very handy when you hike with a baby, because you don't have to carry the food. The food is anyway amazing. So you want to eat there, and plus you get a comfortable bed to spend the night. So that's where I go every time I can.
That place sounds magical. And yeah, I've heard of these huts in the Alps. A while ago on this podcast, we interviewed a couple that was living in France, and they were backpacking in the Alps and had talked about those little huts. Their thing was they're vegan, so eating the food that the huts made, they couldn't always eat the food because they were vegan.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, that's
yeah.
actually curious because my son, he has an intolerance to lactose and eggs. So my son is technically vegan.
Yeah.
And I am too, because I'm still breastfeeding. So I cannot have any of the two, neither. But I have to say, nowadays, you can find some food, not much, maybe just fries or potatoes, simple stuff, but a lot of rifugio start serving some vegan options. Not a lot, but you hike for the mountains, I think, not just for the food.
Yeah.
Although if you eat everything, that's the best anyway.
Yeah, sometimes the food keeps you motivated to keep going.
Yeah. Oh God. Yes.
Yes.
On the website in Backpacking Moms, we are also there is a section called Explore, and we are adding there all the location of these huts or other important local information that you want to look at if you go hiking. And we thought a mom doesn't have a lot of time. And believe me, when you are planning an expedition, you don't want to spend 5 hours to find a place to sleep. And so while I search for myself, I find a good website that I need to plan that hike in that place. Then I share that link. So hopefully I will have other mothers too that they find good website with a good location to go hiking or good web GIS. If they want to share that information as well, that's wonderful, because then we will have a platform where if you want to organize a hike, in few minutes you find the information you're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a while ago, there was a woman we interviewed who created a great tool for planning hikes. I think it's just hikes here in the US, though. I don't think they're worldwide, but I'll have to take a look at that link and possibly send it to you.
I would love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be great.
Yeah. And she was originally from Lithuania. She was
Right.
a very fun person to interview. And Stephanie, how about you? Where's a favorite place that you've hiked?
I would say in front of the door. I'm always happy when I don't have to take the car too long, because my youngest boy doesn't like to car drive. So no, actually I love the mountains here because I have all my memories here, and also so it's quite the same of mountain formation as Barbara told you. So I have the Dolomites, but on the other side. And what I love is the changing landscape. You have a lot of different environmental how do you say ecosystem. First of the hike, you are in the forest, so you have all this raspberry to eat and so on, and then you can come in a part where there are a lot of rocks. We have also a lot of animals in the mountains, so the cows in the mountains eating during summer. So you have a lot of change. You have also a lot of water. Actually, my oldest son loves water. So everywhere where water we can stay, you can be sure you have to make a break because he want to throw stones in the water, he want to touch, to go in. So I love to have a lot of change during the hike, because it's much more easier to keep the motivation of the kids. So that's why I love these mountains here. They are not that high, but you have a lot of change. Yeah. And of course, as Barbara told you, we have a geological specialty that you have a lot of fossils.
Yes. Fossils.
So you can say, okay, let's check for fossils. Yeah, and a lot of story, of course, because of the First World War. It's a little bit sad, but you have a lot of things to see still in the mountains. So you have a lot of story also. I think now they are too young to understand, but it's funny to go in these caves and which were made from the military. And so yeah, these are my favorites.
Yeah, I think when you're hiking in a place with a lot of rich history, it really just gets you thinking about that land and the place and the people that have been there before. And it's so true, all the geological features as they change on the hike, it keeps you motivated and keeps it so awesome.
Yeah, this is really, really helpful. I would say for families to hike, to have a lot of change. These huts are also a change. You are meeting people, very different people. There are beautiful people in these huts. That's why I say in front of my door, I'm lucky.
So yeah, when you say right in front of your door, it's really easy to access the trail from where you live.
Yeah, it's really easy, and it's very well organized also, because we have these clubs that are looking for the trails also. So they are really good. You can find the marks. They are prepared after winter, so you are quite sure to be able to make the hike. Yeah.
How convenient, yeah, that you don't need to get in a car and drive an hour to go there.
Yeah, that's fun. But I have to say I'm now looking for a camping van, because now it's really hard to move with 2 kids. Before I was moving by train. I was really trying to this kind of mobility options. But now with 2 kids, with the baby, it's impossible. And the dog, of course, if I want to take the dog with me. So 2 kids and 1 dog. So I'm looking for the option to find a camping van, so I can go a little bit far, meet some new spots. And of course, I hope I will be able to find some new nice places. Maybe if other mothers have good information, it would be really nice. So these are the plans for the future.
Yes.
Find new places and meet new people.
Yeah, that would be such an awesome experience to give your kids, put them in a van and travel by van is such a gift to give your kids.
Yeah, I had your podcast, the hippie and the tech.
Yeah.
I was thinking, oh my God, I want this too.
Yeah.
Amazing people.
Yeah.
Inspiration for me.
I know. They're so inspiring, living in their RV and homeschooling and just really embracing that lifestyle. And the whole van lifestyle and RV lifestyle has really been booming and become very, very popular in the USA in the last handful of years. I don't know how popular that's getting over in Europe. Is that becoming a big thing over there right now?
It is here among the climbing community. It's very common. Actually, most climbers we know they have a van and they just travel, they sleep in their van, and then they go climbing. So, yeah, we are also thinking about getting a van. Also,
for your climbing partner.
Yeah, well, also for me. So this summer, Stephanie and I, we are hoping both to have a van and just go and hit the mountains with the van. It would be easier, to move around, not to have to plan ahead to find accommodation, because you can imagine it's a very touristic area, and sometimes it's just impossible to find a place to sleep that is also affordable. And when you have 3 kids along, it's important that you find one, because you don't want to sleep in the car with 3 kids. You want to have a bed, and a van kind of offers that comfort. We'll see. It will be a new adventure. Yeah, it's still uncharted territory.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's absolutely so much more convenient to do that. Last summer, my husband and I road tripped in our car. It was just our car. We built a bed in the back of the car, and it was so convenient just to find open land and go sleep in the car. No children, of course. Very, very small quarters. Small, small.
Yeah.
So overall, would you say like outdoor recreation for you, Barbara, is it pretty easy? It sounds like it's really easy to access where you are as well.
Here in Germany is amazing. It is really. So we live in a very green area. It's called Franken-Jura. It's very famous for climbing too, but there are amazing hikes. It's very green and natural. I cannot complain. It's beautiful. I just miss the view of the mountains. I think once the mountains enter into your heart, it's hard to give up. But it's beautiful here, and I can just live from home too. I have a great forest behind our house, so we are lucky.
Yeah.
And it's important for me also that that my baby likes being outdoor, and I have to say, I succeed on that. It's very easy. I was thinking about challenges, right? There was a question that was any surprise that we discovered backpacking with children. And the surprise that I had was, oh, it's so much easier to go backpacking with your child than to stay the whole day at home with your child. so really, I think it's nice that we can go outside anytime and find nature.
That is very surprising because people think of this backpacking trip and they think, oh my gosh, you need to get all this stuff and put it in your pack and then bring it with you and find the trail. And so many people have this mentality that by the time you pack everything at home, that's already worn you out and made you exhausted.
It is true when you start, because you don't know what to take. And I think this is other thing that we can offer with backpacking moms. We made a list of things to take, and then you just prepare the backpack the night before, and you know exactly, okay, the baby wakes up, you change the diaper, you change the baby, give him food, and go for your backpack. Don't have a second thought, because in the second thought he can get distracted with something else. But if you plan, you know exactly where you want to go. This is all you want to know. You want to know where you want to park your car and when you want to start hiking, and you want to have your backpack ready. And then from the parking lot, you don't know where you get. Maybe you only do 10 meters because your baby has another plan. He just wants to play with the rocks that he finds in the parking lot. I don't know. But you're ready to go, and that's the important thing. And eventually you'll make it.
And how about, this is an interesting question, how about changing the diaper out there? Do you guys bury, because a lot of the times when humans poop out there, we bury the poop in the ground. Do you bury the poop from the diaper in the ground?
No. Everything we take in is take out. It's absolutely leaving no trace. We believe strongly into that. So yeah, we just pack our diapers and then we take it back.
When you guys like poop out there, you're not carrying your poop back, correct? You dig like a big hole.
Yeah. For us, yes, but for the baby, you cannot leave the poo there.
Okay.
No. Oh, you will see. Don't worry. There is no way you can leave your baby's poo away from the diapers.
It's stuck on there.
It's yeah. You're gonna have a big laugh the first time you see your baby's poo in the diaper, and you're gonna think about us.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, I mean, of course, leave no trace, but then you think about this diaper that now weighs, it's all this extra weight. A used
yeah,
diaper weighs a lot.
yeah. It weighs, yeah, but it's okay. It's part of the game. Yeah, you have to take it, and it smells. You that's the worst part. It smells. But
Yeah.
you should take Ziploc bags and just seal it out, and then put it somewhere in your backpack where you know you don't have to take it out anymore, and away from the sleeping bag too.
Yeah. Keep that smell deep away.
Yeah, although I have to say, I was reading around, and there are a lot of moms that go hiking for more days that they have the washable diapers. Yeah, although I found that a little bit trickier. I think to use those, you have to plan much ahead if you're able to find water to clean the diapers, and also you don't want to pollute a spring. So
Yeah.
I haven't been that confident yet to understand how to use it on the trail. Yeah,
We would be happy to have some
yeah,
experience.
that would be great to know. Yeah,
To read about that or to listen about that. Yeah.
yeah. It's easy to use washable diapers at home because you just change the baby and then you put everything in the laundry. But when going hiking, I prefer using. I'm sorry, they're not
Yeah.
recyclable, but also they keep the baby drier and more comfortable.
And maybe I'm interested about how moms are hiking with babies when they are not breastfeeding, because I never use butters milk to prepare the butters. You have to make the milk warm. So I don't know if it's possible to hike when you can't breastfeed. If there are some mother listening to this podcast, that would be interesting.
Because Stephanie, you're saying that you never bring bottles, you're only breastfeeding?
Yeah. This is perfect. If you plan to travel and to hike, breastfeeding 100% easy. It's not always easy and sometimes painful, but it is worth, definitely.
I saw some Instagram profile. There are women out there. They bring everything that they need outside, so you can breastfeed. You can feed with a bottle. There is tube feeding, which I didn't know it exists, but sometimes the baby cannot feed by himself, and you need to use a tube. But this is what I love of Instagram. We just joined because we decided to do the backpacking. Mom says like, okay, let's have an Instagram account, and I'm connecting with all these women from Instagram that are just amazing. They go out hiking with babies, tube feeding, so they have all this extra device. It's amazing that the world is full with, I would say, heroes. Really, these moms are heroes. I would love to hear from them. I would love to learn from them. And those mom out there that they think they are not heroes, I think they're wrong. That they can be heroes. Just listen to other moms, see what they did, and just find a way to do it yourself. It should be possible. Hiking should be possible for everybody. And motherhood doesn't have to be a sacrifice. You'll have to adapt for sure, but it's beautiful when you can share your passion with who you love.
Yeah. And, I think that's such a strong message for people to hear, especially first-time moms when they're going through all of these emotional changes and life changes, and all of a sudden needing to bring a baby out on the trail with them. The message that you guys are sending is really empowering and really helpful for people to hear.
Yeah.
So thank you for what you're doing.
Sure. I would like to add, on the first hike that I had with my son, he was 1 month old, and I was terrified because all the time I was thinking, oh my God, am I doing something wrong? Is it too cold? Is it too hot? It's going to rain. What do I do? And we went on a very easy hike. We even met nuns, totally dressed, in black and white. It was a very, very easy hike, but it was in a beautiful place in the Dolomites. And the next morning, when I woke up there in the rifugio, I just felt so empowered. It was really the best day of my life. It was me and my baby up in the mountains. We did that together. We enjoyed it together. And that was when I really clicked into my brain. It's like, yes, I can do that. It's going to be great. Before that, I always had this doubt, you have this new creature in your hands and you don't know how it works, You have hormonal change, of course. You are, maybe you have to heal physically as well after giving birth. So it's very empowering. The first hike with your baby is it's scaring. You may doubt you can do it, but then it's going to be an incredibly empowering experience.
Yeah, and that's so cool to have that like moment of, yes, I'm doing the right thing. This is where I should be.
Yeah.
And what about you, Stephanie? Do you have a moment that you were hiking with your baby where you were like, yes?
Yeah. I don't remember the moment when I said, okay, I made it. But I remember these little moments when I look in the eyes of my child, and I knew we are now sharing something very special, just both of us, And I really could feel how the positive effect on the child, because this was the most important for me, is that my child is feeling good and that he enjoy. Because I don't go hiking with my kid because yes, of course I love hiking, but I don't want to make something with my kid when I know he won't like that, So I'm not an egoist. Maybe some people can think like that, I think. But yes, this look in the eyes, and I know we have shared now a special moment that no one is going to be able to take away. Yeah, this is a very personal moment. So yeah, I think this is the moment when I can say, okay, I succeed in my hiking.
Yeah, that's like a really strong, empowering message as well, because when a child is that young, the only way that they can connect to a mother or a parent is through eye contact and physical contact. They're not talking to you, but what you're saying is they're showing you through their emotions that they're content and they love where you're bringing them. They love the environment.
And as a mother, you are the only one that can understand this and read this. No one is able to tell you if your child is happy or not. So yeah, just keep strong, keep naturally, and keep real. This is real life,
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else that either of you want to add that we haven't talked about? We've talked about so many strong messages, and I've really loved hearing your opinions and input and perspective.
Yeah, I would add something. I'm going to be emotional now, but I wanted to say I'm really thankful to have the possibility to share this experience with Barbara, or to have started this project, because it saved my life. I think she's the only one who first could understand me, and she's also expressing my feelings with kind of words. She's a perfect tailor, she just I think something, but I'm not able to tell it as she do, and I'm so happy to have her on my side.
Thank you, Stephanie. Well, I have to say this. I told Stephanie already, but as I said, I grew up in Rome. I thought mothers and kids belong to the house. And when Stephanie had their baby, the baby was 5 months old. We talk on the phone, and we were like, "Let's go to the mountain." And I was thinking, "Oh, but you have a baby. your baby's 5 months old. Oh, this is my son arriving.
Oh
At
yes,
the
I
right
can
mo-
hear.
Ciao, amore. Sorry, I take my son. Sorry. So I was saying we had a phone call when Stephanie had the baby, and the baby was 5 months old, and she told me, let's go hiking. And in my mentality, as a woman, a girl growing up in Rome, I was like, Stephanie, you have a baby. You cannot go hiking in the mountain. It's not possible. You should stay in the house. And she was really the first one that kind of opened my eyes, and that she showed me a different way to be, which was totally fine. We had an amazing 2 days hike in the Alps. The baby was super happy all the time. For me, that was really a eye-opening experience. And I really realized, okay, if one day I'm gonna have a baby, I can do that too. So yeah, so thank you, Stephanie, for taking me on the hike.
Oh, I love that. You two are you've just like really empowered each other. That's so beautiful how strong of a connection each of you and has had on each other, and you've really impacted one another. This is so cool to hear.
Yes, yeah, we
We hope we could impact you for your future.
hopefully.
Yes, you already have.
Really,
Then we're happy. It's 3 of us.
You already have impacted me totally.
So you just joined the community.
And you guys are making me want to travel back to Europe again so bad.
Oh, please write. Please write. Yes. We'll go somewhere together. We are always up for adventure, so.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
it. Oh, yes, I'd love to go back there. How can people get in touch with you guys?
So we have different platform where we are active. So on Facebook, I think Facebook you can have we can have a great discussion on it. Instagram, of course, with pictures, it's easier to get the first contact. And otherwise, we have the website where you also can find our email. And if you have really special questions or requests, or you want to share something directly, you can send us an email.
So we will be setting up a newsletter soon, and we will just update with everything that is coming new, maybe every 2 weeks. So you can find our email on the website, the backpackingmoms.com, spelled with the O. Also, you can join the Facebook group, which is closed. So you need to ask for a request to join. And you can just follow us on Instagram on Backpacking Moms as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much. This has been awesome to have you guys on.
That's been our pleasure,
Sarah.
really. And please keep in touch.
Oh yeah, definitely will. I'm gonna go join your Facebook group right now.
Cool, thanks.
All right, ciao, ladies.
Then
so much.
thank you for
Bye.
everything. Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Ciao. So I'm not sure if you guys picked up on the news we shared in this episode or not, but that news is that I am pregnant. Yay! We are expecting a baby this coming September. So we're kind of trying to get our minds thinking about what hiking is going to be like with a baby, and talking to backpacking moms was really inspiring and motivating, and just a reminder that we can still live this lifestyle and passion when we begin a family. I think a lot of people, kind of like I talked about with Stephanie and Barbara, kind of lose who they are and forget what their passions are when kids come into the world, but that doesn't have to be the case.
Well, and even when we got married a few years ago, it was something that we've always thought about, starting a family, and we thought about, how that might impact what we like to do, our hobbies, and just who we are as people. And I think this all started not just now, but way back then too, when we got married, just exploring how people adapt their lives after they have children. and how we can still incorporate hiking and camping and our love for the outdoors with young children. And I think that this episode was a very good reassurance to us that, you know, it is still possible to do those things that you love and to get outside and get on the trail. It's going to change a little bit. It's going to be a little bit different than we're used to, but it's going to be great still.
Yeah, and going with being different, one thing I think Andy might struggle with is just adjusting to the pace that we're going to have to go. That was definitely like something Stephanie and Barbara were talking about, the pace that you're going to have to go at with a kid. And when we talked to Jody way back in the fall, she was another guest we had. She talked about how she had to adjust her hiking pace when she started bringing a child on the trail. And it's very true. I think we're definitely going to have to think about that.
Yeah, if you want to go check out that episode that we did a while back with Jody, it's episode 16, and Jody talks about how her hiking and outdoor lifestyle changed and adapted. And that's a big thing that Barbara said in this episode too, was it's not so much that it has to quit, or it's just that you have to adapt to hiking with a child.
And I think that's really symbolic of what hiking through life is about and the meaning behind hiking through life. We created Hiking Through Life because it's kind of a guide for us to navigate life and all the changes that come our way. And having a new addition to our family is a huge change. And we're going to hike through that change at the pace it comes.
Well, and hiking through life is symbolic of what you encounter on the trail too. You make changes as your hike progresses. You know, you can plan everything out in detail as much as you can. You can spend hours and hours planning your hike. However, things during the hike pop up that are unforeseen. The weather changes. Maybe you roll your ankle and can't do as many miles as you planned. And all of these different factors that come into play. And that's kind of how life is too. And that's what hiking through life kind of symbolizes, is making those adjustments, adapting to the environment around you as life progresses. And one of those things, a big thing for us right now, is our first child. So that's going to be a huge adjustment. And just working through those adjustments as first-time parents. And it's great that there are resources like Backpacking Moms out there where we can learn from each other. So if you want to go join their group on Facebook, it's Backpacking Moms, and we'll have a link to that in the description of this episode. You can also head over and check out their website, backpackingmoms.com. That will also be linked in the show notes of this episode.
And I encourage you to leave this episode thinking, what ways are you hiking through life and making adjustments? Thanks for listening. We love sharing these stories with you through the Hiking Through Life podcast, and we're so grateful that you listen to this podcast. If you'd like to support the Hiking Through Life podcast further, we have these amazing new t-shirts and water bottles. The t-shirts come in 4 colors, and the water bottles are perfect for trails, adventuring, or daily use. Consider checking them out at hikingthroughlife.net/shop.
Use the code PODCAST and receive 10% off your first order.
You've been listening to the Hiking Through Life podcast. Peace, love, and hike through life.